So like even when your slide out's broken and your air conditioning and your refrigerator and you're in Oklahoma and it's 100 degrees in your RV, that's really, really hard.
Today we're going to do something fun for the channel. If you didn't know, we're Mike and Megan Norp of Norp and South, and we've been traveling for the last 3.5 months in an RV with our 9 kids. And this is my best friend Marissa and her husband Michael, and they've been traveling for the last year in an RV with their 4 kids. And we met up this week and we thought it'd be really fun if we interviewed the Johnsons to ask about what that's been like and really get in and learn more about that journey for them. And then they'll do the same for us. So it's gonna be fun. You'll be able to watch their interview here on our channel, and you can watch our interview on their channel, which is Living a Good Story. So we think this will be fun. There's links down below for their channel. So let's get started.
Awesome.
It's kind of a hard question to answer, but I mean, it's long, but we won't give a long answer. I had a really stable job about 8 years ago. I moved to a company that wasn't as stable, and they started having layoffs, and I kind of joked with Marissa that if I got laid off, we should live in a van or a fifth wheel and travel the country. And it kind of just planted a seed in our minds. And so over time, we just thought about it more and more, and Marissa had a job that was providing more money for our family to the point that it just made it so I could quit my job. And we have a 16-year-old son. We wanted to experience something different. We've done different things in our life. We don't live extremely traditional, I think, in a lot of ways. We already homeschooled our children. And we just felt like as one of our last chances for us as a family to have a great grand adventure before our oldest leaves the house. So we decided to do it. And Marissa was the main instigator. About March of 2015. She decided she wanted to do it, and I got on board within about a month due to her power of faith and manifestation. And within 4 months, we had rented our house and we had sold everything we had almost, bought a fifth wheel and a truck, and we were on the road by August.
Yep. That's awesome. Wow, that's a big question because there's so many ways that we've changed. I would say the biggest ways that I've changed is living in the moment. And before I was always, thinking about like, okay, what are we gonna do next? Like just always looking way up ahead. When this happens, then life will be so amazing. When this happens, life is gonna.
When we make this much money.
Life is gonna become good.
When we have this big of a house.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, and I've just really realized to just stop, take the time to really focus on what's happening in front of me and just enjoy it. And I know a lot of people think like, oh, well, you're on vacation for a year, which, I mean, kind of, I can see how people would feel like that, but it's actually just regular life. It's a lifestyle, and bad things go wrong all the time. And so you get lots of practice just like, calming yourself down and really trying to focus on what is happening around you, finding the good that's right there in front of you. So like even when your slide out's broken and your air conditioning and your refrigerator and you're in Oklahoma and it's 100 degrees in your RV, that's really, really hard. I mean, that does not sound like a vacation.
If that happens.
If that happened.
If that were to happen.
I mean, that's just a scenario. So it was really good practice for us to try and find the good in those moments because our son had a birthday during that time, and that was really challenging for us to say, okay, we're just not going to let this affect us. Yeah, they've all been.
There's been a lot of
really good changes.
One of the things is that we were with some friends in Nebraska recently, and they were talking about how close Reese and Maya were, for example. They're like, how come Reese and Maya are such close siblings? And they were not close siblings when we left.
No.
Like they didn't
They weren't really
They didn't really
friends.
have anything to do with each other. And I think all of the kids are closer.
Yeah.
Part of that is they just don't have other friends, and so we've learned to cherish our family, and so I think that's a big part of it. I think that they've been able to realize, like us, that stuff doesn't matter, that we don't need to have as much stuff. You know, we're all getting along without our huge storeroom of crap that we used to have that we never
It
used.
literally is called the crap room. It's 400 square feet, and it's called the crap room.
So I think they've just learned that you can have a really good life and be happy with a lot more simplicity than we've already had.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that too, because yesterday when we were at the beach, I saw how close and even affectionate Maya and Reese were with each other.
Yeah.
And I was impressed by that.
Yeah, they really are. And, you know, everybody's really affectionate with Madeline, and
That's super
they've
cool.
all become much better friends. And the nice thing is with technology these days, they still are in contact with their friends all the time. They text them,
Yeah.
they FaceTime them. So there's a lot of ways that they can still stay connected. Instagram. So, but because they're taken away from that environment they're used to, where it's so natural to just hang out with your friends all day and not your sister, you know, they've really solidified that relationship, and I'm really hoping that they continue that relationship once we get home.
That's so super cool, because those are relationships that they'll be involved
Oh,
in for the
yeah.
rest of their life, when maybe
Yeah.
a kid down the street, you know, not so much.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's a couple things. The whole trip as a whole, I mean, it sounds so dreamy from from far away, and it totally is. I mean,
is.
it's
We're very
so
lucky.
amazing. But there are some really hard things that you have to go through, like, you know, just Michael and I weren't even used to being together all the time, so that was really hard. But then, you know, some of the bigger things that have happened to our family, like our RV actually was in the shop for about 2.5 months, and we didn't have a place to go because
You couldn't live in it wasn't your
No.
house? No.
Our
couldn't live in it.
slide like tilted and wouldn't move. So I mean, and if you were on vacation and that happened, it's not as big of a deal, but we didn't have a place to live. Like, that was our home. So it was like losing your home to a disaster for 2 months. Like, that's
so we
what
were
it felt
homeless
like.
people, you know.
And we lived in a hotel for about a week, and then but what was awesome is we had some friends in California, and we in that area where we broke down, and we went to their house a lot and just became really good friends with them and a lot closer to them, and it just gave us...
It was amazing. The kids in that family were really close and loving and affectionate with each other. And it was magical, because I think that was a turning point for Reese and Maya, where they were able to look at those siblings. Like, Reese and Maya already had developed a friendship at that point, but just them being able to see another brother-sister relationship where the brother and sister were so loving and compassionate and so friendly with each other really just shifted their eyes and their perspective, and like everything after that. Are you
It
getting
got
emotional?
better. No.
You look like you are.
So, like, gave them permission.
Yeah.
It did. It gave them permission to then become really good friends and shift that relationship. And then when the oldest to shift their relationship, it just kind of filters down to the younger ones, which is really nice.
And then the other thing that happened is we went back to our old neighborhood. We had some neighbors that had a mother-in-law apartment that they let us live in, and so we were living in a little tiny mother-in-law apartment. We had no room, which was fine though. Like, it didn't bother us, so it gave us a different perspective, because living on the road in a small thing is different than living where you used to live. We were able to compare our lives and our happiness in the same spot, doing some of the same things,
Yeah.
even though I wasn't working. And we realized, like, we were happier in this little tiny apartment
Yeah.
without a lot of stuff. And we realized how kind and generous people are, and that it's the people that you meet, and the people, and the friends and neighbors and the people you meet on the road. Like, that's what's important, as opposed to, what you have, what you own, things like that. So
Yeah.
I think it was a big blessing for us to go home and live like that
did.
for a while, and see
Yeah.
that we've changed and we're happier with a lot less stuff and no room, but it seemed like a mansion because.
So when you say it was small, explain how small it was.
It was a studio apartment, so it was 1 bedroom and a kitchen, living room area. I mean, it was probably 300
Smaller
square
than
feet.
your RV then? Or
No,
about the
it was
Maybe about
probably
the same.
bigger.
So you guys just all slept on the floor? And
Slept on mattresses on the
yeah,
floors.
mattresses on the floor. Well,
They had a couple beds.
they had
beds.
bedrooms. So our kids would go like into the main house and sleep in the main house in the basement. So they had bedrooms there, and they were like ecstatic because the girls got their own room
Yeah, they were
and the
really
boys
excited
got their
because
own
they
room. They were like, we don't have to
sleep in one
share a
room."
room all together. So that was it was another perspective shift for us. Like, oh wait, like stuff is not what's making us happy. It's our family, it's our relationships, and our experiences that are really the 3 main things that keep us happy. But
Yeah.
when you are focusing on the bigger house, the car, the stuff is going to make me happy, it's this never-ending pursuit towards those things. And you keep getting them and you keep thinking, well, this didn't bring me happiness. It must be a bigger house that's going to bring me happiness. And then you get that bigger house and you're like, well, that didn't work either. It's got to be, the Tesla that's going to make me happy.
That will.
I mean,
That probably will.
it really is. So,
No, that's really, really
Snack
powerful.
cakes.
I mean, I think most of us, maybe some people learn it in the last years of their life.
I think
when they
so.
look back,
Yeah.
and maybe never.
And I know a lot of people that know it, but we had to do this to learn it. Like accumulate things.
I am. I actually like sometimes at night have a little bit of anxiety because we like got rid of most of our furniture, so we kind of have to
buy
start
some
buying
stuff.
things. And I feel like once I buy one thing for the house, it's like floodgates open, and
I want to block off half the house.
Yeah, we're actually planning on cutting our house in half and renting out half of it so that we can't use all 4,200
Because
square
we don't
feet.
need it.
Yeah,
I don't know how long that's
2,100
gonna
square
take,
feet
but-
is plenty. So that's kind of in our plans for the future as we're getting ready to head home.
For me, I would say I'm more introverted. I mean, I have a lot of friends and a lot of good neighbors and stuff, but I would say I'm more introverted, and I enjoyed being on my own and solitude more prior to this. But it's given me a perspective. I think I've changed. I don't know why. I think I've been blessed to change, where I'm a lot more extroverted and I talk to people more, and we've made so many good friends while we've been on the road that will be our friends forever. So I think it's the people we've met, but what that's also done is it's made me reflect on how lucky I am to have the friends that I already did too. Like I think I took it for granted, all the great people in my life. Because when you're on the road and you meet someone great, it's really special because you don't have a lot of people. Like you can't rely on our friends that lived in our old neighborhood or to have social interactions. So it's so fun to meet people on the road, and I think I appreciate just relationships more. I think that's something, I believe it's something that we'll take with us after this life, and so I think that's probably the greatest thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Marissa?
So what was the question again?
What is the best thing about living on the road? Best part?
I kind of agree with Michael. I mean, seeing so many amazing things is awesome, but it's all about the relationships. So the relationship between Michael and I has shifted and changed. The relationships between my kids has changed. Between Michael and I and the kids has changed. And then also the people, like he said, that we've met along the way. It really is magical how these people kind of get weaved into your life.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people somebody that we met in the bathroom during a tornado warning that we connected with for a half hour, as we were taking shelter in the bathroom, and then we met them again in Destin. And so it just kind of like they weaved in and out, and then we've got the Jendens that we met in Arizona and met up with them again in Nebraska.
And the Wetton camps, and then we've had friends everywhere. It's crazy how many places we go where we have friends, cousins, just that we feel closer to because we've been able to visit them. And
yeah, you really cherish those relationships, and so it's just made me really think about the relationships I have in my life and be so much more grateful for those.
Awesome.
Okay. How many more questions do we want to do?
I think that's probably
Yeah,
good.
that's probably good. So, thanks for being on the channel, guys. I think it's really cool for us to hear about you, and I think everyone's journey on the road is their own journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing how probably different our answers will be, and how cool that is.
Yeah, it is.
And so thanks for being on the channel. As we said, go check out their channel at...
Living a Good Story.
Yeah, and you guys also have a website, livingagagoodstory.com.
Absolutely.
And you could follow them on Instagram, they're on Facebook. So these guys are awesome. I'm really excited to see, I think you guys have been changed and what your next journey is,
Yeah.
and what that means. So that's awesome.